Hello gamers and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to talk about the classic arcade game Star Castle. Star Castle is a vector graphics multi-directional shooter released in arcades by Cinematronics in 1980. The game involves obliterating a series of defensives orbiting a stationary turret in the center of the screen. The display is black and white vector graphics with the colors of the rings and screen provided by a transparent plastic screen overlay. Star Castle was designed by Tim Skelly and programmed by Scott Bowden. Skelly created a number of other Cinematronics vector games, including the classics Armor Attack and Rip-Off. The object of Star Castle is to destroy an enemy cannon which sits in the center of 3 concentric, rotating energy shield rings while avoiding destroying mines or enemies that spawn from the core. These can pass through the energy rings and then home in on the player's ship. The player-controlled spaceship can rotate, thrust forward, and fire small projectiles. The cannon shields are composed of 12 sections each, and each section takes 2 hits to destroy. Once a section is breached, the rings beneath it are exposed to fire. Once the innermost ring has been breached, the central weapon is vulnerable to attack from the player. However, the player is also more vulnerable at this point. As with the shields eliminated, the gun can fire out large projectiles that hisses with white noise. Moreover, the central core tracks the player's movement at all times. If the player manages to hit the cannon, it explodes violently, collapsing the remnants of the shield rings, and the player is awarded an extra ship. The next level then starts with a new gun and fully restored shield rings, with an increased difficulty. The increased difficulty means the mines move faster, the rings rotate more quickly, and the core tracks the player faster. If the player completely destroys the outermost shield ring, the cannon will create a new one. The middle ring expands to replace the outer lost ring. The inner ring replaces the middle, and a new ring emerges from the core to become the inner ring. Therefore, in order to penetrate the cannon's defenses, the player must be careful not to completely obliterate the outer ring. The 3 homing mines will destroy the player's ship on contact. The mines can be destroyed. They are very small and difficult to fire on. The player does not receive points for destroying them. Mines are received when shield rings regenerate. An interesting fact about Star Castle. Howard Scott Warshaw, while working for Atari, investigating writing a clone of Star Castle for the Atari 2600. But didn't see the game as a good match for the system, technically. He reconfigured the concept of Star Castle into the game Yars Revenge, which became Atari's top-selling original game for the 2600.
You're a fly named Yar on a quest in space. You attack the shield of the Kotile's base, but watch out, Yar.
He knows where you are. Yar's Revenge is
New on Atari.
Have you played Atari today?
With ion zones and evil drones, there's nothing else like Yars Revenge, the way-out space game that's new from Atari. Who else?
Have you played Atari today?
Many elements of Star Castle are easily visible in the game Yars Revenge. There's the space cannon, which fires the projectile at you. There's the mines which chase you relentlessly. Here comes the projectile. And of course, Yars Revenge is the first game ever with an Easter egg in it. Howard Scott Warshaw put his name in it. Cool little piece of video game trivia. Without Star Castle, there would not be a Yars Revenge. The game was ported to the Vectrex, a Vector Arcade home arcade console in 1983. So there's a Vectrex version of this game. It also eventually was ported to the Atari 2600. Let's take a look at this Kickstarter video, which actually did see Star Castle finally arrive on the Atari 2600. Look at this love for this classic arcade game. One of the deep cuts. One of the machines that was hidden in the back of the arcade. One of the machines that didn't get the love that games like Battlezone and Asteroids or Tempest got. But nevertheless, Star Castle is a great challenging Golden Age arcade game. If you ever get a chance to play it, give it a shot. If you're into homebrew like Papa Brad, a brilliant programmer did decide to actually port Star Castle to the Atari 2600. So a massive shout out to D. Scott Williamson for his achievement of actually creating Star Castle for the Atari 2600. This is a super cool cartridge. If you can ever grab one, pick it up. This is a super collectible. Have you played your Atari today? So much love coming back for the Atari 2600, with the 2600 Plus being released. And Atari seems like they're on a roll, creating new cartridges and just bringing a whole new buzz back to the original 2600. A console from my childhood and something I have great nostalgia for. Tips and tricks for playing Star Castle. After a certain point in the game, you must learn to never stay in one place for more than a second. Everything tracks for you from your current position, so it's best to keep moving. For maximum scoring in the game Star Castle, the player will want to shoot out energy rings in order to give them a shot at the Star Castle at the center of the screen. As play progresses, there are two facts that the player must keep in mind. One, exploding all segments in a given ring will cause an entire ring to reappear, therefore eliminating a potential shot at the Star Castle in the center. And two, exploding the rings in a manner that gives you a shot at the Star Castle will also give the Star Castle a shot at you. The Star Castle's program said that its nose always seeks out the player's ship. If there's an open shot at the player, it will take it. There's a look at one of my favorite Golden Age arcade games, recommended to me by Carl O. This is the classic arcade vector game Star Castle. I find it fun. You know, it's not as great as Asteroids, but it is a great vector game that often gets overlooked. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel. And as always, stay legit.